Hello and welcome to tutorial 91 in this series of tutorials and programs for TradeStation Easy Language. And one of the Gold Pass members asked me how to go about creating an indicator that drew lines on a chart or in radar screen or a scanner that showed the value of the last high pivot and the last low pivot. So it's actually something very simple to do. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate this. I've already created the program, as you can see, applied to a chart in TradeStation at the moment. And you'll see here that, for example, this is the last high pivot. We've got a right strength of 3, and that is confirmed, and you can see the line drawn there. This apparently, or in fact, this value here is the latest low pivot, and you can see a line being drawn there at that value after the pivot is confirmed. So let's have a look at the program, and I'm going to make this available at no cost to Gold Pass members. And we're using the pivot function. If you're not familiar with that, then you can right click on definition of pivot, and you'll see the syntax. And it's probably a good idea actually just to copy this, and then we will be reminded as to what it actually means. So what I'm going to do is create some comments at the top here, and I'm just going to copy that. So what you'll see, we're looking for high pivots to start with, and we're saying the price we're looking for the high pivot in is the high price. We're looking back right bars +1. We only want to know of absolutely the most latest high pivot when it's confirmed. Left bar is the number of bars to the left of the pivot, right bar is the number of bars to the right of the pivot, and you can see I've set those up as inputs. One instance, that means the most recent pivot. The second one means that we want a high pivot. If we want a low pivot, which we'll do in a moment, that would be -1. Okay, and then we're going to be returning two values, and I've created these already as O pivot price H and O pivot price O pivot bar H. Now I say we're returning two values, we're actually returning 3, because value 1 becomes 1 when a pivot is confirmed. So what I've said just below here is if value 1 equals 1, then we're going to create another variable called last high pivot, and we're going to set that to O pivot price H. Okay, so that's for high pivots. What we want to do now is do the same for low pivots. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this like so. I'm going to make that value 2 and value 2, and rather than looking for pivots in the high price, we want to look for pivots in the low price. Left bars and right bars stays the same. 1, we still want the most recent instance. This time we want a low pivot, and we want to return the values to a different variable. So what I'm going to do is change these to L, and because we've done that, we need to declare those variables, and we can do that just up here. So I'm just going to paste those in and set them as initial values of 0. Like so. And we're also going to have another variable. Instead of last high piv, we want last low piv. So let's just create that while we're setting up variables. So I'm going to call it last low piv. And I'm just going to copy that. And we're going to say that if value 2 is equal to 1, then last low piv is equal to O pivot price L in this particular case. So what we're doing is every time a new pivot is found, high or low, we're storing the value in the last high piv variable or the last low piv variable. The final thing we want to do is plot those values. So we're just going to create a couple of plot statements. One is going to plot the last high piv value, and plot 2 is going to plot the last low piv value, like so. So let's verify that, just check that we've remembered everything. Go back to the chart, and there you'll see it. Now if you wanted to change the colors of the lines, we could do that by just going Format, Analysis Techniques, double clicking on the particular indicator, and then we could change the colors. So for example, we might want plot 2 to be green rather than white, we can do that, and you'll see the color is instantly changed on the chart. Now, I mentioned that this could also be applied to radar screen or to MultiCharts Scanner, for instance. So what I've also done here is created a MultiCharts workspace, and I've got the program applied to a GBP USD chart. And if we go to the scanner, you'll see that we're also plotting the most recent high and low pivots there as well. And just to double check that, you'll see here that the high is reading as 1.55082. If we go to the chart, so let's look at the same pivot on the chart. So this one here looks like it's the most recent pivot. That's not been confirmed yet. So we're looking at this pivot here. If we double click on that, you'll see the values, and the high there is 1.55082. Incidentally, with the scanner, as with radar screen, you need to make sure that you've got enough bars loaded. So if you just go Format, Instrument, and you'll see here that we've got 80 bars back, which should be plenty for our needs in this particular case. Anyway, I hope you might find this program useful. As I say, I will make it available for Gold Pass members to be able to copy and paste and use it if they wish to do so. Thank you.